this learning video tutorial. This is Richard from HSK EdTech team. This video tutorial will give you a brief introduction to creating the following types of ungraded quizzes using the Canvas VLE system. We are going to be looking at creating a true and false quiz, fill in the blank quiz, essay, or sometimes called the short answer question quiz. This video tutorial is a follow-up from another previous quiz tutorial that showed how to create ungraded multiple choice Canvas quiz, and also that tutorial looked at setting up the Canvas quiz settings. Now, if you are new to creating Canvas VLE quizzes, you are really advised to look at the Canvas quiz tutorial 1, which will cover many concepts that are very important to know when you are creating quizzes, especially applying the quiz settings, and especially if you have never created quizzes before. So you are advised to look at the Canvas quiz tutorial 1 if you've never created quizzes in Canvas. Now, before we start learning how to create the 3 types of quizzes, there are some important things you really need to be aware of when creating ungraded quiz in Canvas. I want to start off by briefly highlighting these key things you need to be aware of. Now, first thing is, Canvas can enable you to create a graded quiz or ungraded quiz, sometimes called a practice quiz. Graded quiz allows marks to be saved in a gradebook that can be counted towards a percentage of the final module mark that can be used as part of the module summative assessment. Whereas ungraded quiz, with this type of quiz, the results will not count towards the final module mark. A column will also not be created in the gradebook, and always people confuse ungraded quiz with practice quiz. It's the same thing. So there are moments when it will be called a practice quiz, but actually that's what is called the ungraded quiz. Now, there are 2 main parts to creating ungraded quiz in Canvas. The first part is adding the quiz setting details. The other part is creating the quiz questions. So those 2 parts are very important. So adding the quiz settings, that is the settings that you're going to apply to govern your quiz. That's what you do first. Then the next part is actually setting up the questions. So if you actually get these steps, it will become easier for you whenever you are creating Canvas quizzes that are going to be ungraded. Otherwise, there are so many other things you can do, but as long as you know these 2 parts, the next steps will be easier for you. So that's what we are going to focus on in creating. Another important thing I need to let you know about is Canvas can allow you to create different types of quizzes. This screenshot shows the different types of quizzes that can be created in Canvas. For example, we've got multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks. We've got essay questions. Now, what you're going to find that people are going to use the quiz types that meet their needs. And you find another situation that there are some types that are so commonly used. For example, many teachers or lecturers tend to use the multiple choice or fill in the blank question. So you will find certain types that will meet your needs, and those are the quiz types that you are going to be using. Now, this tutorial will focus on showing you how to create the following 3 types, that is the true and false, fill in the blank, essay, or sometimes called the short answer question. So we are going to mainly focus on these 3, that is true and false, fill in the blank, and essay type of question. So that's what we are going to be focusing on in this tutorial. Now, you can refer to the Canvas quiz tutorial 1 if you're not sure how to create multiple choice quiz, because in the Canvas tutorial 1 we went through in much detail how to create a multiple choice ungraded quiz. So just in case you need a refreshment in creating the multiple choice, just go to the Canvas quiz tutorial 1 and you'll find enough information that can guide you through. For this tutorial, there's something else. Adding the quiz settings, details is not going to be covered in much detail. You can also refer to the Canvas quiz tutorial 1 if you're not sure how to add the quiz setting details. Like I said at the beginning, is you need to go through two main parts when you're creating an ungraded quiz in Canvas. That is the first part of setting the quiz details, that is the settings that are going to be governing your quiz. That's what we do as the first part. Then the second part is creating the questions. So even if we are going to mention the settings, but we are not going to do it as we did in tutorial 1. We're just going to briefly touch the settings in this tutorial. So just in case you need a recap of how to set the settings or what the different settings do, just go to tutorial 1 and you have enough information to go through those concepts. Otherwise, in this tutorial, I'm now ready to go through how we create a true and false, fill in the blank, or essay type of question quizzes. So that's what we are going to be doing, and I think we are now ready to start doing that. Now, to start creating your quizzes in Canvas, of course, the first thing is to go to the module where you want to add your quizzes. So what I've done is I've already gone to the module where I'm going to do my practice quiz. So once you are into your module, what you need to look for is on your left here, these links here, you need to look for the one that says quizzes. Look at where my cursor is pointing. So I'm now going to click on quizzes, and then the following screen that's going to come on my screen will now appear. So on this screen, this is where all the quizzes are going to be kept. So on your right, you can see this dark red button with a plus and a white text that says quiz. Click on the button. Once you click on that button, you will see a screen. Yeah, you are now going to see this screen. Now, this is where I want to refresh your memory. Remember when I said the first two things you need to do when creating these quizzes is getting the details set up, and then you create the questions. So now, in terms of the details, we are not going to do that like we did in tutorial 1. This is going to be brief. So one of the most important things I need to do is the quiz name. If you don't give it a name, you will find it very difficult to find this quiz. So I need to give my quiz a name that actually is going to help me to remember what this quiz is about. So I'm now going to cheat a bit here. I've already written the names, and I'm going to copy and paste. So I'm going to combine that. I'm going to call it RMA Practice Quiz 7. So mixed quiz type. So that's my name. So number 1, you need to give the name of the quiz. So once you are done, the next step is the quiz instructions. So quiz instructions, this is where you need to tell the students what to do. So this is really where you are going to write the instructions that the students will read to do your quiz. So same thing, I've actually written already my text. I'm just going to copy and paste my text rather than writing it. So those are my instructions. By the way, the instructions could be an image, you could add an audio, you could do anything. Experiment with a different medium. So this thing we have in here allows you to do instructions in different media, so you can experiment with a different media. I can add a video, audio. So for now, I'm going to stick with my text. Now you've written the instructions. The next important thing is this. What type of quiz is this? This is going to be our practice quiz. Remember, we said we've got graded quiz that will add a grade book, and the practice, this is going to be practice. So otherwise, the remaining settings, if you are not sure how to do these settings, I encourage you to go to tutorial 1 that is going to go through these settings. Things like due date is obvious. When is the quiz due? When is it available from? So for now, I'm not going to mention much about the settings. I'm only focusing on the ones I thought were important. That's the name of the quiz, the instructions you are giving the students, and the quiz type, which is practice. Now that is it done. That's part 1, getting the quiz settings done. Now the next part is getting the questions. We are now going to the questions. Remember, the first tab, if you don't know where I was the details. You can always go in between just in case you've made a mistake. I'm now leaving the details. I'm now going to the questions. So we are now ready to start creating our questions. So the first question type is going to be the true and false question. So what I need to do now, I need to click on this button that says a new question. I'm now going to click on that button that says new question. once it has come up, I need to give it a name. So maybe for now I'm just going to call it question. I'm going to call it question 1. I could have called it anything. It's entirely up to you, but for my information, I'm just going to give it a name that really helps me to remember what it is. Question 1, true and false. So that's my question I've given it. So is it going to be multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank, multiple answers? This is going to be our true and false question. So I've given the question a name. I've now decided what type of question is going to be. You can add points if you want, but I'm not going to be bothered about the points because it's really formative assessment. I don't need to, but it's up to you. So the next important step is the question itself. So I've already done my question, and I'm going to cheat a bit here. I'm going to just copy and paste my text. This is another thing you could do, that you could have all these questions written up somewhere and just copy and paste the question. So my question is, Microsoft Word is an application software, so it's either going to be true or false. So when you scroll down, this is where we are. Is this true or false? So now you can see by default the green arrow here is where I need to touch if it's going to be true. So if Microsoft Word is an application software, definitely the answer is true. So if I touch that, now that is true. Now in case it was false, I now move my mouse and my cursor and I touch almost near the word false. Now that is changes. So just in case you don't know how to play between the two, I now need to go back to true. Just pass my mouse around the letter T. Now that's true. So now in terms of feedback, you need to know, just in case you wanted to add feedback for the students, just click in that box there. You can see I'm not going to click just to save time, but as soon as I pass my mouse around the green arrow, the green box, it tells me the type of information that goes there. If I go to the box, the red one, click here to enter the comments for the student if they chose the answer. If, for example, you chose a red one, which I know is false, I could add my comments here. Maybe I could say, no, sorry please, the Microsoft Word is an application software. I'm not really going to do that. I'm going to say done. I'm just going to stick to the most important thing. So if you think you want to give feedback to the students, you just need to do it there. So if I'm done with my question, I'm now going to say update questions. Please, this is very important. If you don't do that, your question is not going to be saved. So I'm going to click on update question. So here we are. That is my question 1 done, the true and false question. My next question type is fill in the blank quiz type. So what we need to do is we need to do exactly the same steps we went through before. I now need to add the question. I need to click on this button here that says new question. Once you click on that button, you will now see this screen here. So the first thing is it's going to ask you the name of the question. Then it's going to ask you the type of question is going to be. It's going to be fill in the blank. So I now need to give my question a name, and I've already got my name here. I'm just going to copy and paste my name. I could just have written it, but that's so my question 2 is fill in the blank. So I now need to go to the next step, which is to write the question itself. So step 1, give the name of the question, then decide what question type is fill in the blank. So I now need to put the question, and I've got my question here. My question is this. It's asking me, application software is software that does ... There are so many possible answers that you could put on this question. So I now need to give some of my possible answers. So this is really where you put the possible answers. It even tells you possible answer. Now what I need to do, the same thing. I've already got my answers here. I'm just going to copy and paste. So you can see one of my possible answer is allows you to do particular things like creating like PowerPoint design to create presentations. So that's one of my possible answers. So I then have another possible answer. I'll do the same thing, copy, and I'll go and put it in this other box. copy. That message came up for no reason. I think I touched a shortcut, but does particular things, e.g. Microsoft Word is software designed for word processing. So those are my possible answers. I could add as many as I want. For example, if you had more than 4, you just click on that button, add another answer. If you don't want this one, just click on delete. So you can see I've got 2 left. I'll delete that one. I've only got 2 possible answers. If I want to add another one, that's how you play with the possible answers. For now, I'm going to stick with the 2. It doesn't matter if you leave it or not. So what I need to do, I can remove that one and I stay with that. Once I'm done, I will then update. Before I update the question, it's the same thing. If you want to add the feedback, click here to enter comments for the correct answer, and here it says click here to enter comments for the wrong answer, and here it says click to enter general comments. So these are feedback opportunities. So if you want to give feedback that students will say, please use these boxes. So for now, I'm not going to add feedback. I'm just going to click update. Please, if you don't click update question, your question is not going to be answered. It's not going to be saved. So I'm now clicking on update question. Here we are. We've got our 2 questions. The first one was to the true and false question. The second one is the fill in the blank question. Now, our third question type is the essay question type, often also called the short answer question type. So the same thing we've done with the previous 2. We now need to add a question, and I'm now going to click on this button here that says new question. So I'm now going to click on that button. And the same process, we need to give the questionnaire a name, and we then also need to choose the question type, and it's going to be essay question. So same thing like I've done before. I've already got some of my information prepared. I'm going to put my question name, and my question 3 is the question type called essay question type. So it's an essay, so I can put points if I want, but for now I'm just going to ignore the points. Now my question that I'm going to give to the students is already also done. Alright, I'll put it there. My question is saying, using good examples, explain how computer networks are being used in business organizations. So that is the question I've given to the students. So what I need to do is I need to just mention something. Often, because it's a question that is going to be asking students to really write up an essay, sometimes when they get they get to submit their response, it's often also good to give them some feedback that shows them either the possibilities that you expect the good answer to have. So this is where I wanted to highlight this thing here. If I pass my mouse over it, says click to enter general comments. So I'm going to add my general comments by clicking on that. This is something I need to give to the students to help them improve their answer, or to be able to know that they've got the perfect submission to the question. So once I click on there, it creates another opportunity for me to type. I've already got my comments that I want to submit to the students. If I paste my comments that I want the students to see. Now my question is going to be support with these general comments. Your answer must include a minimum of 2 examples of how computer networks are being used in business organizations. If possible, include some images to illustrate your example. So I could have written this as part of my question, and I come up with something completely different from my comments. So this is literally what I just wanted to show you. If I've now got my question and my general comments I want the students to see, I will then update the question. Now you can see, so we've got 3 questions: the true and false question, the fill in the blank, then we've also got the essay short answer question. So now once they are done, you now need to make sure you click on save. Please do not click on save and publish. Save and publish then releases the quiz to the students. So what I need to make sure is to click on this red button, save. So now it is saving. So once you've now saved your quiz, I now need to show you how to preview your quiz. Now, to preview your quiz, what you just need to do is you need to click on this button that says preview. Now, before I click on that button, you can see on this screen it says this quiz is unpublished. Only teachers can see the quiz until it's published, and you can see some other details about my quiz. So for now, I just need to focus on clicking on the word preview. I'm now going to click on that button. Now, previewing is going to give me the opportunity to try out the quiz. It's actually very, very important. You try out the quiz before you give it to your students. So now you can see the quiz instructions I put are this is a quiz that has got 3 different type of quizzes. So you read through and spot any spelling or grammar mistakes. So I'm now going to try out my questions. As you can see, the system didn't show the students my names. I put question 1, 2, and 4. That was for me to remember, but the names that appear to the students are the proper question 1, question 2, question 3. So I'm not going to answer this question. Microsoft Word is an application software. I know this is true. The second question, application software is software that does. So I now need to put my answers here. I'm just going to make it is software that does particular things. I'm just going to stop there because I'm a lazy person. So the other third question was the essay question. Using good examples, explain how computer networks are being used in business organizations. I can do anything. They can allow companies to link up different sites, e.g. Tesco linking up its stores. I stop there because I'm lazy. I could put images, I could put anything. So I'm now going to submit my work. So I'm done. I'm now going to submit my work by pressing the button submit. Now as we are waiting, now it is being submitted. You can now see it's showing me time I've spent 2 minutes, current score 1 out of 3, kept score. But for now, regarding scores, that may not be really correct because it's not something we set up properly. So I now go to the more important aspect. This is the bit regarding the question responses. So you can see I got my question 1 right, tells me. Now question 2, fill in the blank. It tells me you answered this, and I remember I gave my possible answers. These are the ones. So this gives the students to know if they've got things right or they need to read around. That's why using quizzes for formative assessment is actually very helpful, because it could be a revision tool. Just in case I missed out things, I can now see that with this answer of mine, I should have put some examples. So now if I go to the third one, the essay type, I can see what I wrote. They allow companies to link up different sites, Tesco linking up, and I see here my teacher told me your answers must include a minimum of 2 examples how computer networks are being used in businesses. If possible, include images. This gives extra feedback for me to go back and improve my answer. So you can see not yet graded. For essay questions, they have to be done manually. If you see also for the fill in the blank, it has also to be done like that. For multiple choice, it does it straight away. So that's the reason why sometimes it's not worth it wasting time putting in the marks for these fill in the blank or essay questions, because they're going to be done manually. So otherwise, that's another reason maybe many teachers prefer sometimes to use the multiple choice, because it does straight away the marks. So for now, you can see we've managed to preview. Now if you want to keep editing your quiz, you go back to edit. I'm now waiting for my system to respond, and this is where we began off. You can see I'm on question I can see the question I did. If I want to add another question, I do that. If I go to details and I now want to add all the different things I missed out available from due date, that's where I can add it. So now if I actually close this and I go back to quizzes, you need to know where to find this quiz, just in case you didn't know. So I can now tell you under quizzes, there are so many. Those are assignments, those are the ones that are graded. Now the practice quizzes come under this category. There are also survey quizzes that come under this category. Now my quiz is called Practice Quiz 7. I called it quiz. I will never remember what it is. If you can say it's not green because it's not yet published, I can click on here and I say click on the button to publish this. I can click here to delete. I can to share. So for now, I just need to let you know I need to open the quiz. And this is where we are. So in case you don't know where the quizzes are kept, they're kept under quizzes, but you need to remember if it's a graded quiz, it's going to appear in assignments. If it's a practice quiz, it's going to appear under practice, and then it's here we are. So I can click on here to publish, or alternatively, before I do that, I can go and click on that button publish. Either way, so if I now publish, the students are now going to see that. So if I go back to quizzes, you will now see it has got a green icon. So that is literally how we create the quizzes. Now before I finish, remember I said I'm not really going to do the multiple choice quiz because I've done it before in quiz tutorial 1. So just in case you really are the person who really wants to have a quick guide how to create multiple choice, this is what you do. You add your new question. You then go here and say I need a multiple choice question. Then once you've written your question name, you put your question details, then you put all your possible answers here. So this green icon, you put it on the answer that you think is going to be correct. If this is going to be correct, you just put it there. If this is going to be correct, you put it there. So it's literally the same process of creating quizzes. Just go and choose the type of quiz, and that's where we are. I'm not going to save this. I'm just going to cancel that quiz. But for now, we've now just done our 3 types of quizzes that we were aiming for, and they were the true and false, the fill in the blank, and essay type of question. So all I need to do is to encourage you to practice, and then get used to the type of quizzes that work for you and your students. So good luck and join me in other future tutorials. Hope this tutorial has helped you. Thank you very much.